A 53-year-old Chinese painter spent $6 million to marry a 21-year-old African woman. After the wedding, the couple lived happily and had 2 sons. But 7 years later, Yang Yan insisted on becoming a monk, a decision his wife found incredibly hard to accept. So what exactly is the bizarre yet true story behind all this? Yang Yan showed a natural talent for painting from a young age. He began learning to paint at 6 and became a world-renowned master of traditional Chinese painting by the age of 35, earning the nickname modern Zhang Daqian. But unlike Zhang Daqian, Yang Yan was completely obsessed with his art. He remained single for most of his life and was still unmarried at 40. His relatives and friends were worried and introduced him to many women, but Yang remained unmoved, fully absorbed in perfecting his craft. That is, until 2001. When he was 43, Yang visited a friend's house and saw a wooden sculpture that stirred something deep inside him. The sculpture was carved in the likeness of an African girl. The moment Yang laid eyes on it, he couldn't hide his excitement. He stared at it, mesmerized, and couldn't help but reach out to trace its curves. Practically begging, he asked his friend, "Can I buy this sculpture from you? Any price is fine." Unfortunately, his friend treasured it just as much and refused to sell it no matter what. Yang was filled with regret. With eyes still locked on the sculpture, he told his friend, "Someday, I'm going to marry a girl who looks exactly like this." The friend thought he was joking. But Yang meant every word, and spent the next 10 years searching for the real-life version of the wooden sculpture girl. Over the next decade, Yang traveled to Africa many times, hoping to find a girl who looked just like the one in the sculpture. But time after time, he returned home disappointed. A friend who knew about Yang's quest introduced him to several African women, including a famous singer named Maria, but none of them sparked any romantic connection. Then in 2011, Yang was invited by Maria to attend a commemorative event in Africa, and that's when he met Ada. She looked exactly like the girl in the sculpture. Seeing her face, which had appeared in his dreams countless times, left Yang nearly speechless with emotion. Through mutual friends, Ada learned about Yang's story and was deeply moved. But because of their large age gap, she hesitated. Everything changed one day when she saw how Yang interacted with children. While they were taking a walk, a group of muddy children suddenly ran up to them, curiously circling around Yang and smearing mud all over his clothes. Ada looked a bit concerned, but Yang didn't mind at all. He squatted down, picked up one of the kids, and happily took pictures with them. Watching Yang play so naturally with the children, Ada's last bit of doubt disappeared, for she believed that someone who was that kind and patient with kids must have a good heart. Not long after, Yang Yan and Ada held a simple wedding ceremony in her home country, and at 53, Yang finally started a family. To show his deep love for Ada, after they returned to China, Yang spent 40 million renminbi, about $5.7 million, on an elaborate traditional Chinese wedding at the Kangxi Palace in Beijing. After the wedding, Yang doted on Ada, and the two often attended events together. They became known in the art world as the perfect couple. Meanwhile, his career also reached new heights. In 2014, his painting Ode to Huangshan sold for nearly $10 million, setting a record for the highest-selling work by a Chinese artist under the age of 60 in the modern art market. After getting married, Ada became Yang Yan's devoted partner, helping him manage both their home and his art studio. During her pregnancy, Ada was completely compliant with Yang's wishes. She was always gentle and never once said no to any of his decisions. Yang not only personally taught his wife how to paint, but also shared his creative insights, helping her gradually understand the deeper meaning behind his art. Ada eventually became the most outstanding guide at Yang's exhibitions, bringing each of his paintings to life with vivid and heartfelt explanations. Their connection as a couple was as harmonious as the colors in a painting, so in tune that others couldn't help but admire them. In 2012, after 10 months of pregnancy, Ada gave birth to their first son, Yang Heping. For Yang Yan, who was already in his 50s, the arrival of this new life brought tears of joy. He threw himself completely into fatherhood, dedicating himself to every aspect of their son's daily care. In 2014, Ada became pregnant again and gave birth to their second son. The family of four lived a life full of love, warmth, and happiness. During this time, Ada accompanied Yang on numerous TV programs, and they received blessings from all over the world. Thanks to Yang Yan's tremendous reputation in the Chinese art world, they never had to worry about money. At that time, Ada truly seemed like the happiest woman on earth. Even though there was a 32-year age gap between them, and even though one was from China and the other from Sierra Leone in Africa, none of these differences could stand in the way of their love or the beautiful life they built together. But just when life seemed to be at its most blissful, Yang made a shocking decision. He gave it all up to become a monk. One morning, at age 60, Yang suddenly turned to Ada and said, "You can have the kids and the money. I'm going to become a monk." Then, without looking back, he walked out of the house. Ada was frozen in place, thinking he had to be joking. After all, their marriage was loving, their sons were well-behaved, and their family life was full of happiness. There was no reason for him to become a monk. More importantly, Yang had never shown any interest in monastic life before. How could he suddenly make such a drastic decision? But it was no joke. Yang really went to Zhongnan Mountain, shaved his head, and was ordained with the Dharma name Deju, meaning Great Awakening. Only then did Ada realize how serious this was. She rushed to find Yang, crying and begging him to come home. But Yang coldly shook off her hand and turned away without hesitation, leaving Ada collapsed on the ground, eyes filled with confusion and heartbreak. She pleaded with him again and again, hoping he would change his mind. But Yang was firm. He told her, all the family assets total about $14 million. That's enough for you and the kids to live on. Ada, unable to accept it, asked through her tears, "Then tell me, why do you have to become a monk?" Yang, expressionless, replied, "For wisdom." Upon hearing this, Ada broke down in sobs. She had come all the way from Africa to marry him, thinking she had found a wealthy, famous, and responsible husband, only to be abandoned in the end for something as intangible as so-called wisdom. No one knows exactly what was going through Yang's mind. Maybe he had grown tired of worldly life, or maybe he simply wanted a new way of living. Only Yang himself knows the real reason. Artists, after all, have always been unpredictable. What's even more surprising is that after Yang became a monk, Ada and the children would often visit him at the temple. Despite his new life, Yang's feelings for his wife and children never seemed to change. As outsiders, all we can do is feel a sense of regret, and offer our respect and best wishes. What do you think of Yang Yan's decision? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.